Hi, and welcome to Bululu Wellness, your guide to well-being. Here, we simplify health with practical and easy-to-use tools to help you live a healthier life. Hey friends, welcome back to the Bululu Wellness podcast. If you listened to the last episode in Spanish with Jimmy Calderon, you probably heard us talk about family constellations. Or maybe you didn't quite catch everything we discussed, or you're just hearing about this for the first time. I wanted to record this solo episode to break it down for you in a really simple, heart to heart way. Because maybe you've been doing everything right, eating well, going to therapy, journaling, meditating, and yet something still feels off. Maybe you keep repeating a pattern you can't explain, and there's a sadness that doesn't have a story. Sometimes what we carry isn't actually ours. It can belong to someone in our family line, a parent, a grandparent, even generations back. And that's what family constellations help us see. In fact, Jimmy calls this family configurations. So let's start there. Family Constellations is a therapeutic and energetic approach developed by Bert Hellinger. He was a German psychotherapist who studied family systems and group dynamics. Actually, his work was heavily influenced by his time as a missionary among the Zulu people in South Africa, where he observed their strong sense of intergenerational connection and traditions. He also incorporated elements from other therapeutic approaches like Gestalt. He discovered that within every family there are hidden loyalties, patterns of love, loss, guilt, or exclusion that can be passed down unconsciously. Through a constellation or a session, the therapists bring those invisible dynamics to light. It's just information. It usually happens in a group or in a one-on-one session where different people or even objects represent family members. When you look at that picture, emotions and truths that have been buried often rise to the surface. It's like turning on a light in a room you didn't even know it was dark. I love how one of Hellinger's students, Brigitte Champetier, explains it. She says this work is not about blaming, it's about restoring love and order in the system. Now, I love to connect science with healing, so let's talk about why this makes sense biologically. There's something called epigenetics, and don't worry, I'll keep it very simple. Epigenetics is the science of how our experiences and environment can change how our genes express themselves without changing the DNA code itself. It means that what your grandparents lived through, like war, loss, displacement, even resilience, can leave a biological mark or imprint that influences how our bodies respond to stress today. Research from people like Rachel Yehuda, who studied descendants of the Holocaust survivors, shows that trauma can actually affect the way our stress hormones are regulated. So when we talk about inherited patterns, it's not just a poetic thing, it's a physiological thing. For me, family constellations fits beautifully within an integrative healing approach. I live it firsthand when my dad passed away and I went to my very first family constellation therapy, and he showed me a lot of things that I couldn't understand. My questions at that time were, why did my dad die? And it wasn't that it gave me an immediate answer, because we never know why something has to end all of the sudden and abruptly, but I was able to see the big picture of things. The same thing happened when recently I had some episodes that there was cycles in my life repeating and I didn't understand why. And I did a few sessions with South American practitioners that helped me see a little bit more information, and that way I can create some actions for my own life. So Sometimes, when we've done all the nutrition, the movement, the mindfulness, and we still feel stuck, the missing piece might be the system we came from. And that's exactly what a family constellation helped me see. I think of authors like Mark Wolynn, whose book is It Didn't Start With You, give us tools to identify which beliefs or fears may have been passed down. He talks about phrases we carry without realizing it, like, I'll lose everything if I relax, or I have to fix everyone. These beliefs can come straight from unresolved pain in our family line. So you can imagine what happens when we bring those stories into awareness. Instead of living in reaction, we start to live in choice. If you've seen the Netflix series Another Self, you've seen how this work can look in real life. And if you have not seen it, then I encourage you to watch it. Of course, it's a little bit of dramatized version of it, but the characters begin to understand that healing isn't just about the present moment, but about acknowledging the stories behind us. And sometimes that simple act of recognition brings peace to the whole system. I think one of the reasons I connect so much with this work is because my own healing has always been about looking deeper at my body, my energy, my story, and my roots. For anyone listening who maybe didn't understand my conversation with Jimmy or who doesn't have access to family constellation therapist, I wanted this episode to give you at least a glimpse and some tools to start reflecting. So start asking yourself, what patterns keep showing up in my life or in my family? What stories might I be carrying and don't really belong to me? What would it feel like to let those go with love? You don't have to have all the answers. Awareness is the first step. Thank you for being here with me today. If this episode resonated, you can explore more through the book It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolynn, the teachings of Bert Hellinger, and facilitators like Brigitte who continued this work around the world. Remember, healing our story isn't about changing the past. It's about releasing what doesn't belong to us so we can live lighter and freer in the present. I hope this episode inspires you to look at your roots with compassion and to honor everything that came before you. If you enjoy what you hear, subscribe and share it with someone who might need it. The more people join us, the closer we get to building a wellness community for everyone. Thank you for being here. Now let's navigate this bululu together. This podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any condition or disease. If you need help, please seek professional care.